Father Abdul Qawi.
Salat.
Tell you afterwards. Like last night or the other spot. Huh? Clear. I'm not. You're not with me. Sorry. Afterwards.
Okay.
طيب تفضل يا أخي.
So the preferred time is for Isha is later, when you said, depending on fear of the people and the hardship and whether the community is ready or not. But it's preferred later. So that's how I would answer it to somebody. If I tell them, like the preferred time is the later time, depending on which madhab you had. If it's your waqt is over, as in during midnight or during the third of the night, you have preferred later, not as soon as it comes in.
طيب. لا, there's detail. There's detail.
You have a lot more, circumstances.
First and foremost the first issue is when does Salat al-Isha go out? If you say that Salat al-Isha goes out at the mid or the half of the night, meaning from Salat al-Maghrib up until Salat al-Fajr, you calculate the hours. And not actually 12 a.m. طيب. Or if a person holds the view, says no, Isha goes out when what? Fajr comes in. So obviously your third of the night, or your half of the night is going to be what? A bit different. It's going to vary a little bit. But the general concept is that it's best to make Isha a little later. And making it early is going to be based off of the people who are in the masjid and they have attended, they've come. هذا هو والله أعلم. Abu Said.
Since you said that it wasn't wajib for the husband to pay for the wife, his wife, can the husbands pay for their wife's time?
Question says, for husbands, can I ask my wife back for the money? No way. That's gone. Kalas. That's not all. That's not all, Akhi. That's not all. No, Sheikh, that's what? That's not all. Next question. We raise a question with the right hand. Always the right hand, never the left hand. You should know that. You gotta wait now. Next question. Fadl Khalid.
Initials OJ from Manchester, UK. Sheikh, when will you be coming to the UK?
Tell you the question's coming from Manchester. When are you coming to the UK? Only my Lord knows. Only my Lord knows when I'll be there, if it's decreed for me to be there. Bidnillahi ta'ala, it is my intention to make a sincere and earnest effort to make a trip, inshallah ta'ala, hopefully before the end of the summer. At worst, inshallah, the fall, bi'idhnillah, because it's long overdue. It's long overdue. And we know that many of the Hadith disciples are in the UK. And we said this before, we say it again. We appreciate all of the support that we get from the brothers and sisters there, whether it be Birmingham or London or Manchester, and the list goes on. So bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we'll try to make it there to meet you brothers in person and to sit and to benefit from you and remind each other of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bi'idhnillah. However, I want to give a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is, obviously we can't go to the whole entire UK, especially on the first trip. So if we go into one city or one masjid or one town, please don't be upset or offended. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, in the following trips, we'll have the ability to go to different locations, inshallah ta'ala. But for sure, I'm not going to be able to go to Manchester, London, Black in one shot. It's just going to be too much. And the time is already limited as it is. But bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, going to the UK, inshallah ta'ala, hopefully soon. Bi'idhnillah. Jazakallahu khairan. Fadl akhi.
How do you prevent your jealousy from becoming oppressive or tyrannical?
How do you prevent your jealousy from becoming oppressive or tyrannical? Everything in Islam is supposed to be based off of a balance. A balance. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions this, the mizan. Balance. So for a man to have no jealousy for his wife, he doesn't care how she dresses, how she looks, who she talks with, who's looking at her, someone flirting with her, she flirting with someone else. That's a deficiency in one's manhood. To be totally desensitized from your woman, your wife, the one that you love, that you sleep with. Something's wrong with it. Something's wrong. And for you to be excessive and insecure and tyrannical and oppressive. Don't say this, don't do this, don't go here. No one can, no one. Something is also wrong with you. It's an imbalance, like anger. and other emotions as well. There has to be a certain level of anger, because there's a time when you become angry for the truth and you stand up for the truth. And that anger is translated into another thing, such as courage and strength and bravery. But you having an anger problem and you're losing your temper and you're snapping and going crazy, there's something wrong as well. There's an imbalance. So there has to be a balance. So the more knowledge that you have, and the more knowledge that you practice, and the more maturity that you have, Bid'nai ta'ala, hopefully it can be more balanced. And you have to realize that you are not the watcher and the watchdog over people. You're a servant, you're a slave, just like she's a servant and a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Treat her how like you would like to be treated. How would you feel if she accused you of cheating on you? Going through your phone, fiddling through your phone, getting your password to your phone, looking through your pictures, looking through your WhatsApps, looking at your Facebook, and accusing you, you're cheating on me, you're sleeping with me, you have another wife, you have a girlfriend, you're making zina. Would you like that? Would you like for her to embarrass you in front of your friends or the brothers at the college? They might say you wouldn't like that. And the same applies what? As well. So there has to be a balance. And you have to realize that a strong man never needs to feel insecure. Every human being has some type of insecurity on one level or another. Some of us have more than others. And some of us wear our emotions and others hide those emotions. And they only come out subtly. You have to pick up on it. But there's some of us who have no control, no emotional intelligence, as they say. But if you're truly strong and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're a good husband and you're pleasing your wife, there's no need for you to be afraid and fearful unless something is wrong and something that you're not doing. So that's advice I would give in brief, huh?
At least a suspicion.
All types of things. Worse than that, it may be physical violence. And oftentimes when you're focusing on her and what she's doing, it's going to make you neglect what you're supposed to be doing. So instead of giving all that time and energy and effort on her and your jealousy and this man and this brother, maybe you should put that time, that effort, that energy into you being more handsome and better dressed and doing this for your wife and doing that for your wife and pleasing your wife. So be mindful of that. And that's in brief. Tfadal akhi.
What are the rulings on joining Salat, like Zohr and Asr, or Isha and Maghrib? I don't know if it's allowed for Isha and Maghrib to join Imam.
Question says, with regards to the ruling on joining prayers, Dhuhr and Asr, Maghrib and Isha. I've heard during Hajj time, is it permissible, is it impermissible, etc. The general rule is that it's permissible in Islam to join certain prayers for certain reasons at certain times. All prayers are not allowed to be joined. You cannot combine Fajr and Isha. You cannot combine Fajr and Dhuhr. You cannot combine Dhuhr and Maghrib. But prayers that are in one of the two halves of the day or the night can be combined. Dhuhr and Asr can be combined, and Maghrib and Isha can be combined. That's the first part of the answer. Certain prayers, it is allowed. Secondly, for certain reasons and certain times. One of those reasons could be traveling. I'm going from New York City to the UK. I'm on the plane. It's time to make salah. It's permissible for me to pray and combine those two prayers. Clear on that? Or I'm not traveling, but I'm sick. I'm very sick. And it's a difficulty and it's a hardship for me to get up and make wudu again and pray again. So in the hospital bed, or I'm in my house, I'm sitting on the sofa, I'm lying down, I'm very sick. I have the flu, I have body aches, so on and so forth, the fever. I can make my dhuhr and my asr together. I can make my maghrib and my isha what? Together. Also, with regards to, let's say a woman who has irregular bleeding. It's not normal menstruation. Al-istihada, it's irregular. And it's a lot of blood flow. It's permissible for her to combine the prayers as well. Or another situation is when a person isn't traveling. A person isn't sick. A person isn't a woman who has irregular bleeding. But you're going to be in a situation in which you know you're not going to be able to make salah. And it wasn't from your irresponsibility. It wasn't because you mismanaged your time. But you're going to be stuck there. And there's no place to pray, to stand up, to use the bathroom. I know I'm going to be there for many, many hours. So it's permissible occasionally to combine your dhuhr and your asr, whether it be the doctor's office or something like this. You're going to be stuck in traffic. You know you're going to be there for hours sitting there, and there's no way I can pray. But that's not to be done on a what? A daily basis. It's not to be done on a what? On a daily basis. Everybody clear on this? This is regards to combining the what? The salah. So these are also another time is in the masjid. If it's raining outside, it's snowing, it's very dangerous to come back to the masjid, it's permissible to combine between these prayers. These are some of the instances in which it is permissible to combine prayers. It's permissible in Al-Islam based off many proofs and evidences. And it isn't specific to Hajj. It isn't specific to what? To Hajj. That's in brief. And Allah knows best. Fadl Akhi. Mm-hmm. Clear. Question says, with regards to making Salat al-Fajr, commencing it when it's dark, and then reciting a long surah or many ayat, 60, 50, 100, etc. And then afterwards it becomes relatively light. And then you can see the person who's sitting next to you. Now obviously this hadith, like we explained last week, is understood in a different lifestyle. Now we have electricity. We have electricity, okay? And electricity is abundant. Not saying that there was no electricity in the old times. Allah knows best. That's a discussion, okay? Or ways of lighting places. But the masjid was very, very simple. There was no carpet, painted walls, ceiling fans, air conditionings, microphone systems, sister section. None of those things existed in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. None of them, okay? So the concept of they base their rulings and determine those rulings oftentimes off of the natural things that were around them. We explained this in detail last week. Now, remember Khalid looking for the moon, the refrigerator, preserving food. We explained all of this and the benefit of knowing this. So therefore, a person starts the prayer and it's dark, and he finishes the prayer and it's light because of the length of the qira'ah. Tayyib. Is there anything to be said with regards to the Hanafi view of making Salat al-Fajr later on, 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, and reciting a long surah, and then it's going to be really light outside? The question is going to fall into two principles. The first principle is, does this person who's supposedly following the Hanafi madhab, are they taking this hadith of reciting a lengthy surah? If they're going to take that hadith and make the Salat al-Fajr a little later on, then that's going to lead to the second principle, which is called at-talfiq. Masalat at-talfiq is basically making a hybrid of madhabs. What is your opinion on covering the hands and the face for a woman? He says it's mandatory. What's your opinion on raising the hands after the first takbir? He says it's not to be done. He took a view from here and a what? A view from there. وَلَفَّقَ بَيْنَهُمَا. And he has his own comparative view. The correct view is that it's permissible for a person to do this as long as he's qualified. But many scholars, they say that there's no tawfiq. You either follow this or you what? Follow that. So therefore, the question is, in the Hanafi madhab, is it recommended for them to recite in a long way in Salat al-Fajr? If it is, whether it's based off of this hadith or other hadiths, no mushkila. Because they're going to finish the prayer and the prayer is not going to be out. Even if they start at 30 minutes later, it's still more time before the actual sun rises. Clear? Or they may say, no, that is only to those hadiths and that other madhab. And we recite a basic surah, etc. And me personally, I've prayed many Hanafi masjids, behind many Hanafi imams, and all of them that I've prayed behind, they normally recite in a long way and not really short. Clear on that? That's in brief. Wadah, inshallah? And Allah knows best. Inshallah, we'll stop here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.